Hey there. So, have you ever felt like you were in the wrong place, at the wrong time, on the wrong side of history? That feeling of being utterly, hopelessly lost? Multiply that by 10,000. That's where our story begins. Welcome back. I'm Ibnul J. Farabi, and this is Hidden Histories, the Untold Files. Today, we're chasing one of the most enduring and bizarre legends to crawl out of the ancient world. It's a story of a catastrophic Roman defeat, a vanished army, and a whisper that traveled thousands of miles to a place no Roman had ever dreamed of. This is the mystery of the Lost Roman Legion of Carrhae. Let's set the scene. The year is 53 BC. The place is the sun-scorched plains near Carrhae in what is now Turkey. The Roman Republic, led by the obscenely wealthy and ambitious Marcus Licinius Crassus, is looking for a quick military glory to match his rivals, Pompey and Julius Caesar. He sets his sights on the Parthian Empire to the east. It's a terrible idea. Crassus is a financier, not a general. His army, 7 legions strong, that's about 35,000 men, marches into the desert, arrogant and unprepared. They meet a smaller, but brilliantly commanded Parthian force. The Parthians don't fight like the Romans. They are horse archers. They unleash a storm of arrows that darkens the sky. It's not a battle, it's a slaughter. Crassus is killed, humiliatingly. Of his 7 legions, most are killed or captured. But here's where the historical record gets fuzzy. A few scattered survivors are said to have fled east into the desert, and then they vanish. The Roman standards, the sacred eagle emblems of the legions, are lost. It's one of the most shameful defeats in Roman history. But the real mystery is what happened next, because a strange story begins to circulate centuries later. A Chinese historian, writing about the western frontier, mentions a peculiar event in 36 BC. A Chinese general named Ban Gu, fighting against a nomadic chieftain named Jiji, besieges his fortress. And during the battle, the historian notes something astonishing about the defenders. He writes that they used a fish-scale formation to protect the gate. That phrase, fish-scale formation, is unique. To Chinese scholars, it sounds an awful lot like the Roman testudo, the tortoise formation, where legionaries lock their shields overhead and on all sides. Even stranger, the historian notes that there was a palisade, a wooden fortification of a style not used by the nomads, and that among the captives were over 100 soldiers who looked different, men with deep-set eyes, and who fought in a strange, disciplined unit. The Chinese, baffled, settled them in their own frontier town, which they named Liqian. Now, Liqian is a word that, to some linguistic ears, could be a rough transliteration of Legion or even Alexandria, which was Rome's connection to the east. So the theory was born. Did the ragged survivors of Carrhae, sold into Parthian slavery or hired as mercenaries, drift ever eastward across the steppes? Did they, over 17 years, find themselves on the wrong side of a Chinese border skirmish, thousands of miles from home? It's a breathtaking idea, the ultimate lost and found story, a fragment of Rome embedded in the Han Dynasty. Now, this is where I, as an engineer, have to get analytical. We have to separate the compelling narrative from the evidence. In the early 2000s, this legend exploded. The modern town of Zilai in China's Gansu province, which sits on the site of ancient Liqian, became ground zero. DNA tests were conducted on the residents. The results were intriguing, but wildly inconclusive. Some showed a high percentage of Caucasian markers, up to 56% in some men. But Gansu was on the Silk Road. For centuries, it was a melting pot of Persians, Turks, Caucasians, all sorts of peoples. That DNA could have come from anywhere, at any time over 1,000 years. The physical features, green eyes, blonde hair, sometimes reported in the village, are equally unreliable as proof. They're a genetic possibility from any number of Western travelers. The archaeological evidence is even thinner. No Roman armor, no coins, no definitive Latin inscriptions have ever been found there. So is the story dead? A romantic myth? Not exactly, because the real hidden history here isn't necessarily about a single town in China. It's about the incredible, interconnected world of the ancient Silk Road. We know for a fact that Roman soldiers did end up in the east. Prisoners from Carrhae were indeed marched to the eastern edge of the Parthian Empire to guard their frontier. We know the Chinese and Romans were aware of each other, and that goods flowed constantly. The idea that a band of highly trained, displaced military professionals could sell their skills across the steppes is not far-fetched at all. They wouldn't have been Romans in the cultural sense anymore, but a band of mercenaries carrying the military doctrine of the Legion in their minds and muscle memory. The fish scale formation is the tantalizing clue. It's a specific, tactical piece of data that doesn't feel like a coincidence. This is the part that always gets me. I left Bangladesh for New York, a journey of thousands of miles, by choice, with a map and a plan. I can't fathom the disorientation of those legionaries. Imagine surviving the hell of Carrhae, only to be marched into slavery, then perhaps earning your freedom through combat, drifting from army to army, across deserts and mountains for decades. The home you knew is gone. The Republic is falling, becoming an empire. Your entire world has vanished. All you have left is your training, the way you lock your shield with the man next to you. That drill, that instinct, becomes your identity. It's the one piece of Rome you can never lose. And it might just be the thing a Chinese historian, from a completely different military tradition, would notice and record 2,000 years ago. So what are we left with? We likely don't have a literal Roman village in China, but we almost certainly have a kernel of truth, a story born from the movement of people, a fragment of military knowledge that made an impossible journey. The Lost Legion of Carrhae probably didn't found a town, but men who fought like them, who remembered a shattered eagle standard, may have left their mark on the edge of the known world. Their true legacy is the reminder of how small our ancient world really was, how far a man could walk, and how the echoes of a disaster can ripple across continents and centuries. The mystery endures not because we need to find Romans in China, but because it speaks to our fascination with the lost, the displaced, and the indelible marks we leave on history, even when we're far from home. Thanks for walking through this mystery with me. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please share the episode with a fellow history lover. For more untold stories, make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. This is Ibnul J. Farabi for Hidden Histories, produced by Light Knot Studios. Visit us at lightknotstudios.com. Until next time, keep questioning the past.